Okay, in this lesson, we're going to look at taking in command line arguments in C, and we'll compare it to assembler. You'll notice that when we start our code in C, we have this argc, which is the argument count. Argv is a pointer to the arg values as an array, a pointer to an array of car values anyway. As we go down, actually right around here, I chose to, if our count is greater than 1, and if the string compare, basically if this is equal to this right here, it displays the current date and time, meaning that this is what I'm showing the user that the program does. It displays the current date and time, and it has a normal exit. Otherwise, it displays it's an invalid switch, because these strings should be equal if there's more than one input. And then the program executes, which is really simple. But let's go ahead and exit this. In BASIC, this is called the command string. So you would implement this by saying if command string equals this, then you're going to show the help. If it doesn't equal that, but it's greater than null, or that is, the command string has value to it, you're going to display invalid switch. So it's easy in BASIC. It's still kind of tedious with C, but there's a faster way of doing it on later versions of C. But this is an old compiler, so we got to live with that. But anyway, let's go to Edit, and we'll look at the normal ASM program that we created. Before, we looked at it from perspective of making that utility in debug. Making something this complex in debug would take a lot of time, because we'd have to write it down on a piece of paper first. So here we have a line feed and a carriage return. We have our help message in data. It initializes the AD by 25 text mode, 16 colors. We have our error message, invalid switch. Down here, when the program starts, we're going to check the counter register, set CL to the length of the input, and if it's 0, we'll simply execute the normal procedure. Down here, we set the SI to the command string length, and I chose command string because this is wanted to make it easier to understand. Now, we point AL to the first character based on this index value. And then once we get that character in, we're going to increment to the next character. This is because we want to check to see if that character is a space. If it's a space, we're just going to go to the next iteration. But we'll get back to that. But if it happens to be one of these characters, a switch, then we can check the next character. But we don't have to increment it because we've already did. Otherwise, it's unknown. We need to error out. So this is the next iteration. It loops again, stores that next character in AL, and increments, and repeats. Otherwise, it's just a bunch of spaces. We'll just run the routine. Here we check car, store that character in AL, and then this is the check car after the switch is found, by the way. So if it happens to be a question mark, then we're going to show help. It's equal. Otherwise, it's an unknown switch, right? It's invalid. So we need to error out of that. So showing help, we simply point DX to the offset of the help message, and then we display an exit. And we'll do the same thing with an parameter. We're going to point DX to the offset of the error message and display an exit. This is the normal routine, which simply sets the text mode, exits the program. You're done. Otherwise, if there's an error or if I displayed help, I'm going to use MOV AH9, which is the DOS service call to print the string. So we call the DOS service, and then we're going to end the program. And that's it. So that's how you would do it in C versus assembly language anyway. So if I do now, it's going to show this. If I do normal, it's going to show this. Now with something else, will be like this. Normal with something else will be like this. The point of doing this is if you're making a program for users, you want to be user-friendly. This is how we go about doing that. Now we'll show the time. If I don't have a switch, a normal will simply clear the screen and set up the text mode. I hope this helps.